What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Tony on the charts, and I think just with the pullback that we've seen today on the S&P, pulling back 1.53% following some of the hints that Jerome Powell gave on interest rates potentially staying higher for longer earlier today. I thought it would be good for us to take a little bit look at kind of maybe what the charts are suggesting, looking at the S&P 500. So this is going to be a quick video, and let's just kind of go through the steps. So the first thing is, let's look at the monthly levels. In terms of the monthly levels, I mean, that's exactly where we've kind of dropped in and hit right here, you know, at the 3987 level. This being the kind of today's daily candle, that's kind of, you know, big drop to the downside. If we look on the weekly, that's kind of been in as a form of resistance sitting above us and kind of support at least down to this level, but nothing more considerable at that side. And if we look at the trend in general, you know, we've been moving within this kind of downward channel since we've been correcting at the, you know, the height of the market. So, you know, we've broken this trend, we've come to retest it, and we're looking for that kind of continuation. And we're continuing within this upward channel, and this upward channel kind of does suggest that there is going to be some sort of break to the downside as well at some point. So let's think and kind of compare this when we start thinking about an Elliott Wave count. And if I was just to kind of zoom back and zoom out, the kind of larger primary count that we've got going is a kind of a primary count 1 going into 2, and we're right now going through the motions within the 3. And the interesting thing about that is when we start looking at the kind of smaller count. So if we zoom in just to kind of justify this, and I guess what's interesting is not just how this works well with the Elliott waves, but, you know, just how it works well with the trends that we're just talking about, the downward channel, now the break of the upward channel. Because what we're saying here is that this is the wave 1, the wave 1 of the wave 3 breaking out. And what this kind of looks like, this entire upward channel is being something of an abnormal impulse, so a leading diagonal, where we can see that kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that reads quite well if we start looking into the breakdown of these, or at least we've got the impulse here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the ABC correction. And then the only reason I'm just kind of pointing this out and why it's interesting is that how well today's action kind of still works as this kind of 1, 2 to kind of complete this 5. Only because if I was to be taking the kind of the Fibonacci retracement tool and taking that across its entirety, I mean, this daily candle couldn't be more perfect in terms of, you know, reacting to that golden pocket. Look, the wick is at the 65%, while the body of the candle is kind of closing around the 61.8%. So that's, you know, that's quite a lot of kind of confluence that kind of suggests, if we can see the kind of the breakout and the continuation to the upside, and hopefully this was just a big pullback, and then some of that is priced in, we're going to be keeping an eye on this to see if it's going to be continuing. And this 5 could be, you know, it could be as low as this previous high, but it's something that we're going to keep an eye on. In terms of, like, you know, what this means moving forward, if we kind of look at what I'm preempting, I guess if this count is true, then we've got this wave 1 completing, which is something we're going to keep an eye out on. And I guess it's that kind of completion and reversal where it's this trade that I would be quite interested in playing out, because if that is the case, you know, we've got all this strong support. I'm just kind of preempting that there's going to be a breakout and then a retest to the top end of this channel, which kind of makes sense when we think about this upwards channel and the break to the downside that we would preempt, and then this kind of support line holding itself up. So the idea that this kind of like monthly level, this kind of region anywhere between the 3762 and the 3838 holding up, and then the initiation of that next wave. So that's what we're going to keep an eye on and be monitoring as we kind of move forward over the coming days. So keep an eye on this space, and we'll report back.